Hi, welcome to Social Studies today. We are going to read a story and then discuss how we can be good citizens from this story. So, our theme this week is bees. And the bees have actually been all over the news lately, so it's even more important that this is a theme right now than normal. So, let's go ahead and read and we'll talk about that in a minute. So, today we are going to read a book called Being a Bee by Jenny Johnson and Lucy Davy. Being a Bee. Let's see. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It's a sunny summer's day and bees are busy, flying from flower to flower. A bee is a kind of insect. It has 3 pairs of legs and 2 pairs of wings, which move so fast they make a buzzing noise. So the sound you hear is actually their wings, not them going bzzz. It's their wings. There are thousands of different kinds of bees, but the bees we are going to talk about in this book are honeybees. The honeybee's hairy body is covered in yellow and black stripes, warning other animals not to get too close. Female bees have a stinger at the end of their body and will use it to defend themselves and their family. Watch out! A bee sting can hurt. Meet the family. Honeybees live together in big families called colonies. The colony is home to the queen bee and as many as 50,000 worker bees. They build the nest, look after the young bees, and gather nectar and pollen from plants. All of the worker bees are female. There are also some male bees in the colony. They are called drones, and their job is to mate with queen bees from other hives. The queen bee. The mother of all the bees in the colony is the queen bee. She is about twice as big as a worker bee. The queen bee spends most of her life in the nest. Her worker daughters bring her food and groom her. In winter, they huddle around their queen to keep her warm. In summer, they fan their wings to keep her cool. A queen can live between 4 and 7 years, the longest of any bee. The worker bee will survive for only 45 days, while a drone can live twice as long. The queen lays all the eggs for the colony. Sometimes she lays as many as 1,000 eggs in a day. Each one sits in its own little part of the nest called a cell. Now, right now, you're probably thinking, Mrs. Arnold, what does this have to do with social studies? This is more science, but just wait. Inside the nest, wild honeybees make their nests in trees or between rocks, but many bees also nest in boxes called hives, which people build for them. Wooden frames filled with lots of 6-sided wax cells hanging down from the top of the hive. There are eggs in some of these cells, others hold young bees or stores of food, and the bees make the wax from their body. A group of wax cells is called a comb, like a honeycomb. New bees. Bee eggs hatch into small, wriggly creatures called larvae. It takes 21 days for a larva to grow into an adult bee. At first, the growing bee is fed royal jelly, a rich, sugary food by the worker bees in the nest. Later, it is fed pollen and honey from the colony's food stores. A growing queen bee gets special treatment. She is fed royal jelly the whole time she is growing up, which helps to prepare her for a life of laying eggs. So the queen bee always gets something special. I'm going to skip a few pages here because this is the page I want to skip to. Flower to flower. Flowering plants need pollen from a flower of the same kind to help new plants grow. Bees can help flowers get pollen. When a bee lands on a flower, its body gets covered in pollen, When it visits the next flower, some of this pollen brushes off and pollinates the plant. Other insects, as well as birds and bats, pollinate flowers too, but bees are the most important pollinators. Without bees, many plants would not be able to produce seeds. That's going to be important. Remember that. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. Making honey. Bees use nectar to make honey, which they store in their hive until it's time to eat. A lot of work goes into making honey, so it's important for all the bees to work together. It takes about 10 million trips out from the nest to make enough honey to fill one jar. Lots of other animals, including people, like to eat honey too, and they collect it from bees' nests. When people who keep bees do this, they always make sure they leave enough honey for the bees to eat. Beekeeping. We need bees to pollinate our plants, and we love the honey that they make, but bees don't need humans. Wild bees can build their own nests. We can, though, provide bees with a cozy hive home and in return take some of their honey. During the summer months, bees make more honey than they need. When looking in the hive, a beekeeper must wear protective clothing and be very careful. Bees are not dangerous, but they will defend the hive. A beekeeper's job is to look after the bees and watch for any signs of disease while disturbing the hive as little as possible. So I'm going to read that first part one more time because that is so important. Ready? We need bees to pollinate our plants, and we love the honey that they make. But bees do not need humans. So they can survive without us, but we can't survive without them. Save the bees. This is what we're going to talk about in social studies today. Here we go. Honeybees are in trouble. There's much less grassland and far fewer wildflower meadows than ever before, so it's harder for bees to gather the nectar and pollen they need. Bees are also harmed by the chemicals that farmers spray on their fields to kill other bugs. You and your family can help by planting flowers in your garden and leaving wild spaces, or by planting seeds in areas of wasteland to make bee-friendly spaces. Buy local honey to support the beekeepers in your area and tell people how important bees are to all of us. Bees matter, and the more people speak up for them, the more likely it is that they will be protected. So, I made this our social studies lesson today because this is super important. That one page where it said that we need bees, but they don't need us is the key. We do need bees. They pollinate all of our plants. And without them, a lot of our plants can die. And think about the plants that we eat. Now, we plant those, but it mentioned that if plants can't be pollinated, they can't create seeds. And seeds are what we plant to get food. So not only can we lose just like pretty flowers, we can lose our source of food. And our vegetables and our fruits are what keep us healthy. And so if we lose those, we're kind of in trouble because we won't be very healthy and we won't live very long. So bees have a really important job in our society, which is pollinating all of the plants. And right now, especially now, a few weeks ago it was a big deal, but now it's even more of a big deal because a new predator has come to our country that attacks bees. So not only have we started to tear down more trees, which we talked about before when we were reading about the Lorax. Do you remember the Lorax and how they cut down all the trees and all the animals had to leave? Well, we've been doing that. That's why Dr. Seuss wrote that book, remember? He made it to where it was kid-friendly so that we understood what was happening in our world. And we've been cutting down trees, making it harder and harder for bees to find a place to put their hive. And so bees have been starting to die off, and they are becoming, like, there's less and less of them. Well, now a new predator has come, and we've been using that word the last few weeks. And remember, a predator is someone that eats the other animal. So there is a new insect that has come to our country that is eating the bees. And so now our bees were in trouble before, but they're even in more trouble now. So it is super, super important to be a good citizen right now. And one of the ways that you can be a good citizen is by trying to save the bees. You can plant gardens, you can plant flowers, and if you can't do any of that, then you can at least make sure that other people know that the bees are in danger. Those are all different things that you can do to be a good citizen. Also, remember, bees aren't dangerous, but they are at the same time. The book says they're not because they won't sting you just to sting you. They're not going to just come up and go, oh, I want to sting you and sting you. No, they only sting when they feel in danger. That's their way of protecting themselves. So if you see a bee, don't make the bee feel like it's in danger, and it won't be dangerous to you. Okay? So I want you to think about being how to be a good citizen. Maybe you could plant some flowers for a late Mother's Day present, or maybe you've started a garden. I know a lot of you have started gardens since the whole quarantine thing has started, and that's a great thing. Those are great for bees. But if you can't do that, remember you can at least be a good citizen by telling other people how the bees are in danger and how they can help. That is our social studies lesson today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you later. Bye.